What is up, Gundam Meisters and Innovators? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are finally returning to the world of Gundam 00. Last season, the Gundam Meisters were given the Trans-Am system, which helped Setsuna defeat Alejandro. The Meisters disappeared as the world unified as one. If you follow our coverage of Gundam 00F, you learned about Fawn and the Fresh Day team, the Gundam Meisters working behind the scenes. Fawn and the Meisters are still out there in the world, but the Fresh Day team started working with the Ptolemaios team. In this episode, the year is now 2312. The world has united under the Earth Sphere Federation, but there is still war and conflict. Sajji will witness this firsthand as he is unjustly punished. After 4 years, the Gundam Meisters finally make their return. So let's get into this. 2 Tietan space types and an Enact orbit package fights against and ahead. The AEU-09OP AEU Enact orbit package is a space use configuration for the Enact. Many military members who abandoned their post took their Enacts with them when they went to Catherine. Although helpful, these struggle to uphold their own against Jinx mobile suits. It is equipped with a defense rod, a linear rifle, a sonic blade, and 2 rocket launchers. The Jinx 704T ahead is one of the 2 mobile suits utilized by Alaws, the other being the Jinx. This unit is used mainly as commander units. You could tell by the design that this is HRL's attempt at making their mobile suit variant with the Jian Tao drive and takes battle data from the Tietan Taotsu and the Tietan Kitu. This unit is also a testbed for other variants, one of which will be used by Mr. Bushido. The ahead data will also eventually be integrated into the Jinx 4. This utilizes the automation container. This is a container loaded with 12 automatons. The ahead's pilot can monitor the status of each automaton through the mobile suit's computer. It is also equipped with a GN beam rifle. The long barrel and condenser can be removed to turn it into a GN submachine gun. It also has a GN beam saber, a GN shield, 30mm GN Vulcans, missile launchers, and a GN hand grenade. Another interesting weapon is the NGN bazooka. This is a non-GN particle-based weapon used mainly for particle disruption, but its cartridge-based system can be replaced with various shell weapons. 2 Jinx 3s head into an asteroid and place bombs. The GNX 609T Jinx 3 is the upgraded version of the Jinx 2. The Jinx 2 was highly configurable and repairable, so you could assume that many of the Jinx 2 were retrofitted into Jinx 3s. The GN particle generator has been slightly miniaturized. This generator solves the toxic effect that the GN Tau dry particles have on humans. Because of this, the color of the GN particles are now an orangish red instead of the brick red of the old drives. It has a heat source blocking cloak, which conceals their heat source, obviously. The Foreste team could have really used this. It is also equipped with the GN Lance, a GN Beam Saber, a GN Claw, GN Vulcans, the Proto GN Lance, and much more. The head takes out the Enact and the Tietans. They are able to detonate the charges, destroying an asteroid. The Jinx team retreats. Klaus Grad gets word that the asteroid has fallen. During the Civil Wars, post-Earth Sphere Federation, Fawn helped anti-UN organizations fight against UN forces. He was ultimately using them, but in this process, they met Klaus. Whatever remains of that original anti-UN organization is now known as Catherine, and is the prominent force fighting against the UN currently. Klaus and Shiden working towards what they are calling the Proud Operation. Shiden was Marina's right-hand person until she left at the end of Season 1. Now she too fights for Catherine. Remember, during Season 1, Shiden was constantly objecting to Marina working with the UN, and ultimately, she was right. Things got worse in Azatistan, while the UN once again abandoned their nation. Marina, in many ways, is the anti-Relina. She desperately desires peace like Relina, but in this case, the sad, depressing realities of geopolitics said you could go fuck your peace. Soma and Sergei seem to be out of the military, but many people are trying to pull them back by joining Alaws. Alaws is a peacekeeping group designed to unify the nations, but in reality, they oppress the people and strong-arm weaker nations into complying with ESF. We got ourselves some Titans in this universe. Meanwhile, on the colony Proud, Sajji has finally achieved his dreams of working in space. He is talking to one of his coworkers, Eddie, when 2 men come in and arrest him on suspicion of working with Catherine. Sajji wonders what is going on. Sajji looks at the guy. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. The officer arrests Sajji as well. Why not? Tieria is talking to Ian Vashti and his daughter Melina, who is now a member of Ptolemaios 2. The CBS-74 Ptolemaios 2 relies on GN particles, but doesn't have its own GN drive. It relies on the Gundam's GN drives to recharge the ship when docked. Like the original Ptolemy, this has the rotatable docking ring for each mobile suit and MS container. The ship relies on speed and stealth mainly, but it does have a Aegean field. Its only other defenses are the Gundams themselves. Tieria wants to head out in his new Gundam. Meanwhile at Proud, Sajji gets the Hermes Conrad treatment. Also heading towards Proud is a Baikal-class ship. We broke down this ship during our coverage of OOF, so go check that out. Launching is Barak Zenin and a familiar ensign, and they're a head team. They launch in Jinx 3s and heads. Meanwhile, a Gundam sneaks onto Proud. Setsuna begins making moves on the colony, while Catherine attacks from the outside. Hey, you guys over at Proud need any mobile suit defenses? Actually, we have these 8 turrets where if you look at it from afar, it looks like the 8 Noble Truths in Buddhism. It represents peace or some shit, I don't know. You guys sure you don't want to defend the colony with mobile suits instead of metaphors? Nah, we're good, man. A Virginia-class ship crashes into one of the docks. Once they are in Wi-Fi range, Catherine begins hacking their systems. They stop their stupid metaphor from spinning, which messes with the gravity. The Jinxes come in and fight Catherine. The familiar Jinx pilot happens to be Luis. Zenin, in the ahead, destroys the Virginia-class ship that was hacking and drops an automation container. Tachikoma. The automatons begin taking out the people inside of Proud. Sajji hides from the automatons. He almost dies before he is saved by Setsuna F. Sei. They don't have time to catch up with one another as another automaton shoots at them. He throws a grenade and the two make a run for it. Setsuna realizes that nothing has changed. He calls for his Gundam. The two make a run for the docks where they run into Gundam Exia Repair. The GN001 RE Gundam Exia Repair is a poorly repaired version of Exia. After the final battle 4 years ago, Exia was heavily damaged. Setsuna was able to reattach the head and added a Tierin mono eye sensor to replace his Gundam's broken sensors. It wears a cloak to hide the fact that it is missing one arm. It is unknown if it could use the Transcend system in its broken state, but I'm gonna go with no. It only uses the Gean Vulcans and the Gean Sword. He heads into battle with the Alaws. Sajji can't believe that Setsuna is the Gundam pilot. Neither can Luis, who is also on the battlefield, as the Gundam makes its presence for the first time in years. The presence of the Gundam causes her to panic. Remember, she was attacked by the Trinity team and lost her hand 4 years ago. Much of her hate was channeled into the Gundams. The Ahead takes on Setsuna while Luis is not contributing to the battle. As Setsuna's unit is 4 years old, Zenin is very confident. He is able to take out Exia's arm. He goes for another attack when a beam blast comes barreling in. It happens to be Tieria in Seravee Gundam. The GN008 Seravee Gundam is the first of Celestial Being's new Gundams and is the successor to Virtue Gundam. It is very much like Virtue in that it is a chunky boy designed to act as its own platoon. It has a Gean field and a new face burst mode. This is a Gundam's face on its back, which outputs more Gean particles, but also controls the particles to a certain extent. On top of that, the Transam system provides Seravee 3 times more output, making this an even greater beast. However, it is also a gas guzzler and can't be on the battlefield for too long. It is equipped with the Gean Bazooka, which has different configurations. The Twin Buster Cannon is combining the bazooka and the Gean Cannon. The Double Cannon utilizes a burst mode and creates a giant fireball. The Hyper Burst mode is combining the bazooka with 4 Gean cannons and creates the biggest output this unit could create. It also has a Gean Beam Saber. The Jinx goes in to attack with its Beam Saber, but Seravee has a Gean field as well. Tieria says, "Bitch, I have a Gundam face on my back, boo!" He takes out the Jinxes. Zenin notices Luis is still catatonic. He decides to grab her and retreat. Setsuna realizes that it is Tieria in this new Gundam. The Ptolemaios team gets word that Tieria has found Setsuna. The crew is relieved. Lassie will be happy to be reunited with Setsuna once again. On board currently is Felt Grace, the Vashtis, and Lassie, but more will join. Klaus gets word that Proud is safe. He's very confident that Celestial Being will share in Catherine's ideals. The two Meisters head back to Proud, where Sajji takes out 4 years of pent-up emotional anger on Setsuna. He blames his sister's death and the loss of Luis on him and the Gundam pilots. He grabs and points a gun at him, demanding his loved one's back. Look at him shiver, he's not gonna do anything. Back on the Baikal class, Luis is getting the shakes and she needs her fix. At the end of Season 1, we saw that Regene brought back Luis to meet with the Innovators and is connected with Ribbons Almark. Ribbons happens to be meeting with Wang. Sumeragi is on Earth with Billy, drowning in alcohol and depression when she hears of the return of the Gundam on the news. Another person who is excited that the Gundam Meisters made their appearance once again is Graham Aker, now going by the name Mr. Bushido. An American samurai. He's Tom Cruising it up in here. The return of the Gundams have pushed Alaws harder to recruit Soma. They resort to sending a son, Andrei Smirnov, a newly appointed Alaws member, to try to recruit Soma. In an undisclosed location, Allelujah, or Hallelujah, one of the Luyas, is tied up and has been a prisoner for the past 4 years. Tieria, Setsuna, and Sajji head to the Ptolemaios too, but Setsuna instantly heads to Earth. He meets with Lyle Delandi, twin brother of Neil Delandi. He is currently a member of Catherine. Setsuna says, "Pack your bags, bitch. You're the new Lockon." A few months in the past, Tieria is in Gundam 00. They're trying to achieve synchronization across 2 GN drives using what is called the twin drive system. However, it has failed once again. The only other option is to try Exia's GN drive. In the present, Setsuna informs Lyle that his brother died 4 years ago. He gives him a USB drive with all the intel he needs. He wonders what is stopping him from going to the authorities. He tells him that Catherine should probably be focusing on their bases, which are about to be inspected and attacked. Katie Mannequin has decided to join Alaws, as her command skills 4 years ago was impressive. Katie runs into Soma, who also took Alaws up on their offer. Tom Cruise notes that Commander Katagiri is on a recruitment rampage. Homer Katagiri is commander of the Alaws and uncle to Billy Katagiri. In our coverage of 00F, Ian confirmed that the research on the twin drive system was also released as a failsafe at the same time as the Trans Am system. However, the data given is 200 years old and theoretical, so they are struggling to turn it into something practical. The twin drive system syncs 2 drives into one and functions in a similar manner to your multi-threaded processor in your computer. Marina comes to check on Sajji. He wonders why they returned, and they tell him that they intend to put a stop to Alaws. They leave him with Red Hato. Red Hato only stabbed 1 person, so you should be fine. Sumeragi gets drunk when Setsuna lands on her doorstep. In front of Billy, he says her codename and labels her as a member of Celestial Being. "I know you probably lied to this man 4 years ago, and I just blew his mind with this information, but we gotta go." Lyle confirms that one of Catherine's bases was indeed raided. He thinks if he should become Celestial Being. Sajji connects his laptop to Red Hato and does some digging. He learns that the Throne Gundams weren't a part of the original plan. He learns that the G and Tau drives have cellular degenerative effects, which is why Luisa's hand would grow back. Watch out, he's gonna stab you! Setsuna and Sumeragi meet with the new Lockon, and they all head into space. Meanwhile, in Azatistan, ESF police arrest Marina. Last season, we learned that Wang loves the chaos. It seems she is doubling down on creating chaos and is losing the narrative of trying to achieve peace. She gave vital Celestial Being info to Ribbons. Zanin and the Ahead team launches and heads towards the Ptolemaios. Setsuna, Sumeragi, and Lockon won't make it back to the ship before the attack. Sumeragi sends a coded message back to the ship. Even though this is the Ptolemaios 2, the system is still the scraped local backup of Veda with all of her tactical plans. Sumeragi reminds us all that we need to build a home lab and stop relying on cloud-based services for everything. Tieria launches and the Ptolemaios sends out mines that scramble the Jinx's system. This will slow them down and buy them some time. Tieria begins fighting with the Alaws. Setsuna has no time to dock. He bails out of the shuttle and uses a jetpack to get to 00. Tieria isn't going to last long and needs help. Setsuna gets in the Gundam and activates the Trans Am system. Ian is skeptical about using the Trans Am system to jumpstart the twin drive system. Setsuna thinks back to when he saw O Gundam as a child. The other GN drive in 00 is O Gundam's original drive. He feels a sense of pride? Joy? I don't know. He's a Gundam. I can't get a read on this guy. It works. The drives synchronize, and he activates 00 Gundam. The GN Quadruple Zero 00 Gundam was built off of the data from Exia and designed for Setsuna, even though his whereabouts were unknown when they began development. The star of this show is, of course, the twin drive system, which syncs 2 GN drives. We will learn that the Trans Am system overloads the mobile suit and isn't utilized until the Gundam gets the 00 Riser upgrade. Its antennas are redesigned to help control the massive GN particle output. Many GN condensers are placed throughout the body to store all of the excess GN particles for later use. It also doesn't have a typical GN field. It just outputs so much GN particles that it can nullify beam attacks. Weapons include a GN beam saber and a GN shield. Setsuna begins destroying some of the Jinxes, causing the rest to retreat. Gundam 00 was not a part of Veda's plan, as this isn't in Veda's files, but it was a part of Aeolia's plan. Ribbons realizes that Aeolia Schoenberg is still far ahead of him. Back on the ship, everyone is surprised to see Lockon, thinking that it is Neil. Marina is being interrogated. After Season 1, Marina was questioned for working with Alejandro, thinking he was just a member of the UN. Now that the Gundams have made their return, she has become an important person to the Earth Sphere Federation. The man who gave the speech at the end of Season 1 telling the world that the UN has become the Earth Sphere Federation happens to be talking to Ribbons Almark. ESF currently has 40 million soldiers and is growing. This was all thanks to Veda and Ribbons. He believes that he is still working towards Aeolia Schoenberg's original ideals. Ribbons believes that questioning Marina will cause the Meisters Innovators to make their appearance. They also know they are going to go after Allelujah. Also, I'm referring to the Innovators as they/them from now on, because they are totally androgynous, non-binary entities that only move the plot forward. Allelujah wakes up to see Soma and the Alaws. This causes him to react. He has been held up for the past 4 years. He still refers to Soma as Mari. Soma denies the name. Lyle tells Tieria that he doesn't have any mobile suit experience. But don't worry, he won't slow down the plot. It will be like Neil never left. Neil having a twin is straight out of a 70s TV drama, and they take it so seriously. I love it. Sumeragi is in her room, hydrating. She isn't sure if she wants to rejoin Celestial Being. Setsuna gets Sajji caught up on the differences between them and the Throne Gundams. Regardless, he still blames Celestial Being for uprooting his life. Setsuna says, "My bad, I didn't know it was all about peace for you." "Oh no, Sajji's upset, let's stop fighting." Setsuna says this stone face, but this is the closest we ever get to him being sarcastic. Soma calls Sergei to ask if there is any files regarding the name Mari, but he says he knows nothing. A Guyana-class ship comes in to pick up Soma. The Guyana-class ship is an Alaws assault carrier. This is a large ship that can fly under Earth's gravity. The wings can be folded in and it can act and operate as a command center. Its main weapons are the 10-meter laser cannons mounted on rotating turrets. Other weapons include GN missiles. The commander is Kitty Madigan. Sergei will also take command of one of these ships to hunt down Catherine. Nina Trinity is scouting out the base where Allelujah is for Wang. Nina is piloting the Liang. The GNW 003 SH Liang is a small transport craft used by Nina. After she lost her brothers, Wang made this to conceal her Gundam throne dry. It makes it great for stealth and intelligence gathering. It can fly in Earth's atmosphere and is equipped with its own GN Tau drive. The only weapon is the GN Long rifle, which isn't great for long-term combat, but it can attach to the throne dry's handgun. Wang sends a message to Celestial Being. She informs them of the location of Allelujah. We learn that the Alaws are using Allelujah as bait to lure out the Gundams. Setsuna gives Sumeragi a pep talk as she still doesn't want to assume her role as tactical forecaster. That is also one thing to note, is that Sumeragi isn't the commander. She just creates the missions. However, they do treat her like a commander because of her leadership qualities. Wang gives Celestial Being all the intel on this secret prison and all the prisoners. Felt notices that Marina is also a prisoner. Sumeragi sends the mission plan to the team. 00, Seravee, and Sheridan launch. The GN 006 Sheridan Gundam is the successor to Dynami's Gundam, and is also a long-range mobile suit. All its long-range features have been enhanced. This unit can also use the sniper scope from the cockpit and has Hato assisting. The GN Sniper Rifle 2 is closer to the look of a real gun, and its accuracy is enhanced due to its crystalline sensor on its forehead. This becomes even more powerful when the Trans Am system is activated. The rifle also has a triple Vulcan mode for medium and close range combat. The GN Shield Bits is another upgrade, which is wirelessly remote controlled weapons similar to the GN Fang. Sheridan has 9 bits and are used more for defensive purposes, but they each are equipped with a beam gun. Other weapons include the GN Pistol 2 and GN missile pods. Setsuna is informed that Marina is one of the prisoners. At the prison, Colonel Mannequin is informed of a ship approaching their location. She informs Soma and the other pilots to launch. The Ptolemaios 2 doesn't slow down as it makes it into Earth's atmosphere. It dives directly down into the water, causing a tidal wave at the Alaws prison. This blitzkrieg happens so fast that Soma will never make it to her mobile suit. The Gundams head toward the base. Tierins try to fend off the Gundams. Setsuna busts in and looks for Allelujah. Hato tells Lockon to say targeted and firing, just like his brother. He begins picking off some Jinx 3s that are on the battlefield. Seravee protects 00 while it is unoccupied. Soma is running to her mobile suit when suddenly Catherine rebels come in to help release the prisoners. Setsuna finds and releases Allelujah. He gives him a data pad with intel on where his mobile suit is located. He says okay bye and heads out, barely saying anything. Allelujah heads to the location where he finds his new Gundam. But that is when Soma holds him at gunpoint. Setsuna finds and rescues Marina. Allelujah continues calling Soma Mari. She remembers moments from her past and begins panicking. This is when Allelujah jumps into Arios Gundam. The GN 007 Arios Gundam is the successor to Kyrios Gundam and can change into flight form just like the old version. However, this flight form can handle melee combat situations. This unit focuses on speed instead of attack power. It could go even faster when the Trans Am system is activated. Also, since there is no longer a need to let people know that a mobile suit is a Gundam, the Gundam face is now stored in Arios' flight form to reduce air resistance. Unlike other mobile suits, the GN drive is located around the pelvis to accommodate for its flight mode. A pair of GN verniers are mounted on the outer side of the thighs to serve as an ambac system of sorts. Weapons include the GN twin beam rifle, a GM submachine gun, a GN beam shield, GN Vulcans, and 2 GN beam sabers. Arios is too fast for the Jinx pilots. As the Gundams make their escape, Colonel Mannequin focuses on helping robbing the base. Catherine was able to release many prisoners as well. Shiden is informed by Klaus that Marina was a prisoner and taken by Setsuna. She remembers the pilot that brought back Reshmati to the Azatistan Palace. Allelujah meets new Lockon after thinking it was Neil. Everyone is excited to have him back. Marina wonders why Setsuna is fighting again. It is the only thing he knows how to do. A young Allelujah can hear a voice. He heads into the lab to see Soma/Madi, who talks to him via brainwaves. She can't see him. This is the first time the two meet one another. Scientists watch the two's interaction. She is the one to give Allelujah his name. She says you use it when you give thanks to God. She is thankful for being alive. Marina wants to return to Azatistan, but the Federation may intervene on her lands once again. They are not a part of the Earthsphere Federation and have been abandoned. She has also reached a stalemate with the Reformants since the death of Reshmati. They decide to take her back to her nation. Melina wonders if the two are lovers. Hot. Sumeragi still isn't wearing her uniform. It takes her a while to get over her hangovers. Give it time. Felt runs into Lockon. Hato blurts out that she used to like Lockon. He decides to kiss her, but Felt slaps him. He was being sleazy on purpose to make sure Felt never compares him to his brother again. Oh boy, it took a few rocky days, but finally, Sumeragi is sober.
いっぱい付き合ってもらえませんか?
Damn it, Allelujah. Stop being a bad influence. Alaws, second in command, Goodman, is chewing out Mannequin for failing the mission. He decides to put Aber Rent in charge of the next operation. If you followed our coverage of OOF, Major Rent, who was a captain at the time, was the commander of a Baikal-class ship that had a run-in with Fawn Spark. Mannequin says that Rent has a notorious reputation. Goodman gives Rent permission to launch the Trilobyte. He also wants Tom Cruise to help him on this mission as well. Mannequin reviews her failed mission. She says that she's seen this Blitzkrieg-type attack before. Alaws launched the Trilobyte. The GN MA-04B11 Trilobyte was one of the first mobile armors built by Alaws that uses the assistance from the private sector and the Union. We will learn of the secret financial contributor of this soon. This aquatic suit has 3 GN Tau drives and can surpass the original GN Drive Gundams. The Trilobyte can switch between cruising form and battle form. The mobile armor is not equipped with any beam weapons, as beam weapons are useless underwater. The transforming technology in this mobile armor comes from the transforming mechanism and the Union flag. Weapons include 2 claw arms, 6 GN torpedoes per arm, 24 large GN torpedoes, chemical jelly bombs, anti-ship missiles, and a chain-shaped bomb. Soma wonders who the special contributor to this mobile armor is. Fun fact, anytime someone in a story wonders who someone is, the filmmaker usually always cuts to who that person is. In this case, Luis. Catherine is going to do everything to help Celestial Being. Klaus wants to ensure Marina's safety. Shiden wants to join on this next mission. Marina tries to convince Setsuna to return to Azatistan with her, but he once again says no, I do the fighting. Sajji helps Ian with work as they are short-handed. He tells him that everyone here has lost something precious because of war. Allelujah tells Sumeragi of Soma and his past relationship with her. He wants to get her back, even though she is the enemy. Sumeragi somehow finds a way to make the conversation about herself. 6 enemies close in on the Ptolemaios. The Trilobyte fires chemical jelly bombs on the ship. This slows the Ptolemy in its tracks. This bomb has a chemical reaction to salt water, which turns the area into jelly and traps its enemies. More torpedoes fire. It is able to break through the GN field and damage the Ptolemy. The charges stop, and the Trilobyte goes into attack. This allows the Gundams to launch. Tiria activates the Trans-Am system and fights the Trilobyte. 00 goes in and attacks the mobile armor with his GN sword and destroys the Trilobyte. They head to the surface to attack Lent's Bering-class ship. That is when Tom Cruise defends the ship and his custom ahead. The GNX 704T AC Ahead Sakigake is built off of Graham's Union Flag Custom 2 and the Ahead. The Aheads are general purpose, but custom variants like this were designed specifically to go up against the Gundams. Another name for this unit is the Ahead Close Combat type. To avoid interfering with the arms when the sabers are in use, the pair of main thrusters on the Sakigake's back are mounted vertically instead of horizontally, like the normal Aheads. The horns are designed to help control GN particles of its high-output GN Tau drive. Weapons include a GN Beam Saber, a GN Short Beam Saber, a GN Short Beam Cannon, a GN Shield, and 30mm GN Vulcans. It also has an energy cable to charge things. Tom Cruise is certain that this is the Gundam pilot he fought 4 years ago. Arios launches and fights Soma in her Ahead Smoltron. The GNX 704T SP Ahead Smoltron, also known as the Ahead Quantum Brainwave type, is designed specifically for super soldiers. It allows quantum brainwaves to partially control the suit. This is similar to a Psychomu system in Universal Century. We will learn that Luis can also pilot this suit due to the medication she takes. This is a high mobility variant as well. It has a large Tau drive, and the backpack can rotate around it to accommodate its size. Much of the data from Soma's Tautsu is used to build this ahead. Weapons include a Aegean beam rifle, a Aegean submachine gun, a Aegean beam saber, a Aegean shield, and 30mm Aegean Vulcans. As they all fight, Catherine comes in and helps Celestial Being in their attacks. Aberrant wasn't expecting this, and they decide to fall back. Setsuna meets with Catherine. Marina realizes that Shiden is fighting against ESF. Meanwhile, after feeling betrayed by Sumeragi, Billy joins the Alaws and helps his uncle Homer. On the Ptolemaios, Sumeragi finally puts on her uniform. At a press conference, some press secretary for the Earthsphere Federation fields questions to reporters concerned about the return of Celestial Being. They will strengthen their Alaws as a solution. Regene wonders if causing the Alaws to grow is a part of Veda's plan. Revived Revival approaches the two. Revived Revival? I can't take these names. He wants to roll out a new mobile suit, but Ribbons hired Ali to help instead. In the desert, Setsuna, Tieria, Sumeragi, Sajji, and Marina are heading to a Catherine base on a shuttle. Since Season 1, not only has the UN abandoned them, but they shoved a giant middle finger up their buttholes by installing these GN particle disruptors throughout the Middle East. Remember, GN particles, like Minovsky particles, disrupt modern communication signals. One side effect of this disruption is that it gives Catherine a nice cover to hide behind, as the Federation can't lock on to their communications. Celestial Being wants Catherine to look after Sajji, as he is just a civilian that got caught up in all of this. He doesn't want to leave Celestial Being, but they think this is for the best. Children walk in, and this gives Setsuna PTSD. He asks if these children are being raised as Catherine soldiers, but they are merely fostered children. Sumeragi tells them that they don't make ideological decisions, and up until recently, their attacks were all dictated by an algorithm, but their fight is with the Alaws, and not the Federation. He says, well, since their causes line up so well, can we just assist you with your missions? Goodman chastises Lint for his failure on the last mission. This time he will place both Katie and Lint in charge. This is getting comical. Katie wants Tom Cruise to help on the next mission, but he says that he is a one-man army. Meanwhile, Sergei tells Soma that he wasn't there for his son Andre when he was younger, and he hates him. Soma takes Sergei up on his offer to let him adopt her. Setsuna watches as Marina plays with the kids. Sajji says that those kids are products of Celestial Being's destruction and wonders if he feels something. Robot Setsuna says, yes, I feel something. I am Gundam. Nailed it. Not robotic at all, Setsuna. Marina wants to ask Setsuna a question. She needs to return to Azetistan. As she is already in a lot of heat, Setsuna can't just use his Gundam and take her home. That would stir up trouble for Marina, so they take a shuttle while Sumeragi handles transportation of 00. Sajji doesn't trust Celestial Being or Catherine. He sees both parties as those who cause pain. He decides to take off on his own, but is shortly captured by a Federation airship. They interrogate him. This happens to be Sergei's ship. Sergei can tell that he isn't a fighter and isn't with Catherine. He also knows that he was on the Colony Proud up until a few weeks ago when the Celestial Beings attacked. Sergei wants to hear the truth. He spills the beans. Meanwhile, Homer and the Alaws have found Catherine's base. Kitty has been ordered to use automatons in kill mode. She is horrified by this, but Lint is like, oh well, orders are orders. Soma is starting to realize why Sergei didn't want to join the Alaws. Andre admits to her that his anger towards his father is because he let his mother die. One of Sergei's men informs Alaws of Sajji. He punches his underling and tells Sajji to get out of here fast. He has no authority over the Alaws and can't protect him. As he takes off, he sees GN particles falling from the sky. Wang sends a coded message to the Ptolemaios informing them that the Alaws are heading to Catherine's base for an attack. Sumeragi decides to help them out. Heads and Jinx 3s approach as Catherine goes to Red Alert. Klaus realizes that they are greatly outmatched and will hold them off, but he hopes that Celestial Being will come to help. The Ahead drops automatons onto the base. That is when Celestial Being comes in to help. Tom Cruise decides to join for funsies. Allelujah in the Arios Camille's right through some Jinxes, while Tieria uses his double bazooka. Lockon takes out the automatons. Oh yeah, Luis is here and she is just watching the battle, not doing anything again. That is until Lockon attacks her and she runs away. They are able to hold off the Alaws, but it was a massacre. Much of Catherine has been killed in action. Sajji returns to find death and destruction. He blames himself for running away and opening his mouth. Meanwhile, Setsuna and Marina return to Azetistan to find the city on fire. It was caused by Ali in the Arch Gundam. Archie? I'm gonna go with Arch. Someone will correct me. The G&W 20,000 Arch Gundam is built off of the Gundam Throne Zwei and developed by the Innovators. It has many features of
the Throne Gundam, but also has an overall performance increase. This has 3 G and Tau drives and increased armor. It also has a core fighter used mainly for escape. There are enhanced sensors on its 5-head. Weapons include the G and Buster sword, which is both a beam and physical sword. The sword has a rifle mode that can be used when firing. It is strong enough to deflect 00's beam attacks. Other weapons are 10 G and fangs, a G and beam saber, and a G and shield. Klaus and his men spent 3 years building this base, only for it to go down in minutes. As Sajji returns to the base, Tieria says, "Hey buddy, I wonder where you went off to." He wants to know if he is an Alaws spy. Sumeragi watches the squad mourn for a comrade. This triggers a flashback to when she was an AUG officer and accidentally friendly fired on someone she loved. The blood rushes to her tits and she passes out. Tieria gives Sajji a bright slap and says, "Congratulations, you are responsible for a massacre. This blood is on your hands and you are no different than us. So get off your high horse and try to exist in the real world instead of the ideological version you have in your head." Setsuna and Marina, hey, can you stop crying? Setsuna and Marina return from Zadistan as there was nothing they could do without a Gundam. Marina informs Shiden of the destruction of Zadistan. She is actually mad that Setsuna brought her back here as she would have died trying to fight. Celestial Being will help with supplies for Catherine for the time being. At EFS, Katie Mannequin is conflicted and wonders if she is no different than Lint. Soma is not feeling good about the last operation either. Sergei sends him a coded message informing her that he was the reason that Alaws found the base. Lint slaps and chastises Sergei for letting Sajji go. Just like the Titans in UC, even though Sergei is a higher rank than Lint, the Alaws are above rank. Catherine begins evacuating the people, while Celestial Being tries to head off Alaws, knowing that they will come back for a second attack. While Soma talks to Louise, Andre approaches and instantly falls in love with her. "Don't be weird, dude."
乙女だ。
Aw, you're being weird. As Katie is giving her briefing, Tom Cruise walks in and says 00 is mine, you can't have it, and then just walks out. Everyone seems to expect this from him now. The Gundams launch and approach the Alaws squadron. They engage in battle. Luis heads toward the ship, while Allelujah and Soma fight. Tom Cruise comes in and attacks 00. Lassie is taking tactical command since Sumeragi is still passed out. Ian goes to use Ptolemaios' cannons. Sajji wants to help him. Katie realizes that this isn't the command tactics of Sumeragi and switches things up. Luis approaches the ship and Sajji shoots while Ian aims, but Sajji hesitates for a good 10 seconds before not firing. He couldn't bring himself to do it. Andre comes in to protect Luis from countermeasures, and they get out of range of the Ptolemaios. As Setsuna fights the ahead Sakigake, he activates the Trans Am system. This is his first time activating it since sinking 00, and like Ian Vashti said, it overloads the GN drives. His suit is dead in the water. Tom Cruise notices this and doesn't kill him as he realizes this is an uneven match. Sumeragi wakes up and tells the Gundam Meisters to split up while the Ptolemy creates a smokescreen. Kitty realizes that the tactics have changed and Sumeragi is back in command. She tells the Alaws to fall back. They don't have signal with Arios Gundam. The Alaws also think that Soma went down in action as well. The two battled and crash-landed nearby. Allelujah gets out of his mobile suit and wakes up Soma. He calls her Mari, but she proceeds to fight him. He seems to unlock her memories and she passes out. But before she does, she remembered Allelujah. Sergei heads out to find Soma. Andre and Luis search as well, but the Alaws higher-ups call off the search. Soma wakes up in a camp set up by Allelujah. Their mobile suits don't work. He wonders how Mari became Soma. She mentions that they probably implanted a false personality in her. She seems to now have both Soma and Mari's memories. He tells her of how they escaped from the super soldier lab. He regretted not taking her with him, but there wasn't enough food for everyone. Eventually, Allelujah came out and killed all the other children, allowing him to survive. Allelujah is just another part of him, and he did all those bad things, and he accepts that. Sergei eventually finds Allelujah's camp. Catherine meets up with another Catherine group. They are informed that the Federation is moving on the Middle East and establishing provisional governments. Effectively, Zadistan is no more. Marina is with them and is in shock. Sergei points a gun at Allelujah and tells him to get away from Soma. But she tells him, "Yo man, I'm not that person anymore. Also, I'm an adult. Adults don't need to be adopted." He shoots his gun in the air and says that he will tell his subordinates that Soma died in battle so she could live a life of peace. Mari tells Sergei that she still thinks of him as a father. That is good enough for him, and he takes his leave. Lockon finds him and says, "What the hell, man? We've been stressing trying to find you and you're just making out with a woman? Rude." The Ptolemaios crew are informed that Allelujah has been found. Setsuna smiles, and Sajji realizes that he isn't a complete Gundam, and there is some human in there. Tieria is still scouting when he gets news of Allelujah. That is when Regene Rechetta approaches him. They realize that they look the same. Regina says that is because they have the same DNA.
Regina tells Tieria that they look alike because they share the same DNA and that they are innovators. Regina begins talking to him inside his head. They say that this is due to quantum brainwaves using GN particles. This is how Tieria was able to interface with Veda. He didn't know that there were more like him. Regina tells him their plan. Phase 1 was to unify the world, essentially everything we saw in Season 1. Phase 2 is to use Alaws to unite the world. Phase 3 is to get humanity to move into space. This is Aeolia's plans according to the Innovators, and their mission is to guide people into space. Ribbons, using quantum brainwaves, listens to their conversation. Everyone is gossiping about Allelujah and Soma. This makes Sajji, Miss Luis, and Red Haro can sense it. Luckily, Red Haro isn't in stabbing mood right now. Marina barges into the room and asks Soma and Allelujah if they are lovers. She says their awkward reaction says everything. The Federation is currently dissolving Azatistan under the Middle East Renewal Plan. Setsuna thinks of Marina. Marina is with Catherine and makes her problems the children's problems. Tieria has Regina on his mind. Regina told him that he was a walking contradiction working with Celestial Being and tells him to join his fellow Innovators. He then sees Neil Delandy telling him to do what he believes is right. Felt blames the deaths of Lichty, Christina, Lockon, and Dr. Marino on Soma, even though it isn't her fault. Sergei reported to Katie that Soma was killed in action, but something doesn't seem right to her. Luis wants to use the Ahead Smoltron. Katie denies it, but Lent gives her permission in exchange for helping out in a mission. There is still a lot of infighting between Katie and Lent. The Alaws receive new members. One is Revival in the Gadessa. The GNZ 003 Gadessa is a specialized bombardment mobile suit more powerful than the Ahead. The GNZ series of mobile suits are exclusively used by Innovators. These are built off of the data of previous generation mobile suits. It is built off of the GRM Gundam introduced in 00V. Like Gundam Virtue, this unit has a GN Mega Launcher, and its firepower is greater than the Virginia-class ship. For long-range, high-speed travel, the Gadessa can equip a pair of optional leg-mounted booster units. It also has a core fighter for escaping. Other weapons include a GN Beam Saber, GN Vulcans, and a GN Cutter, which emits a GN Field. Unlike Celestial Being, these are still connected to Veda. The other is Patrick Colasar in a Jinx 3. The Ptolemaios team watches as the Federation announces their reformation plan for the Middle East. Setsuna notes the world will do nothing about this. Currently, things are great for the Federation nations. The economy is booming and everyone is flourishing. People tend to look the other way when things are going well for them. Tieria remembers Regina mentioning their second phase being to use the Alaws to unify the world. Unification through force is way easier than using diplomacy. Katie calls Patrick an idiot for joining them, but he says that he survived an attack from the Gundam 7 times, and people call him Colasar the Indestructible. Katie says, "You idiot, they're making fun of you, not praising you." Wang informs Celestial Being about a party being hosted by the Innovators. Tieria and Setsuna volunteer to go on the mission. Wang has set this up, however, as she is currently working with the Innovators. She shows up and notices that Tieria is there undercover, dressed like a woman. He volunteered because he really wanted to wear a dress, I guess. At the party is also Homer and Billy Katagiri, along with Luis. Her family is rich and a major sponsor of the Alaws, and most likely the reason for her upward mobility within the military. After talking to Ribbons, she leaves the party early and notices Setsuna from years earlier. Ribbons dances with Tieria and tells him that he could give him back access rights to Veda. Tieria and Ribbons talk privately. The Celestial Being realizes that they are the reason that Natalie deactivated during the battle in the past. Ribbons says that Celestial Being's destruction is a part of the plan. It was a part of the plan in Season 1, but the Ptolemaios team went off book. Setsuna tells Luis that Sajji is in space. To her, that means he finally fulfilled his dreams. He says that he is sure that he is thinking of her. This triggers Luis getting the attention of Billy, who is leaving the party. He heads over and recognizes Setsuna as the Celestial Being from their first encounter in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Tieria says that they are right because Aeolia Schönberg trusted them with the Trans-Am system. Ribbons, who is able to read his mind, says that Lockon and his death has made him an emotional and vengeful innovator. Tieria pulls out a gun.
Hey, nice legs.
The Innovate Healing Care. Okay, what the hell? This is the worst name of them all. At least Revival is an alliteration. Healing shoots the gun out of Tieria's hand. He jumps out of the window, and he and Setsuna get out of there as fast as possible. Regina is off in the distance, acting all mysterious and androgynous. Even they seem to be uncertain of the future. Will it tip to the hands of Ribbons or Celestial Being? As the two make their escape, they run into Ali al-Sachez and the Archie Gundam. They engage in battle. Setsuna realizes that it is Ali. Tieria says, "Surprise, I have arms on my shoulders." Ali says, "Oh yeah? Well, I have beam sabers on my feet." Ali is able to make his escape as Lockon and Allelujah come to help. He tells Lockon that he is the man who killed his brother. Regina wonders if the twin drive system that Celestial Being has is made by them, or is it a part of Aeolia's plan? Ribbon says it doesn't matter, as it won't hold up against Revive's Gadessa. Sumeragi makes plans for them to head back into space, as the Federation is on to their location underwater. Katie and Lint are planning their attack on the Ptolemaios. Revival wants to hang out in orbit waiting for them to make their escape while they handle business Earthside. Tieria tells Lyle, "Why won't you be mad about your brother's death like me?" He says it is in the past. Setsuna opens up and tells him that he was a part of KPSA and responsible for his parents' death in the past. This doesn't change Lyle's mindset. He tells them they are fighting for the future. Tom Cruise visits Billy requesting a new unit. He wants something with great speed and a big sword. He also knows that Alaw's next mission will fail, which is why he isn't helping. The Alaws launch. The Ptolemy prepares to surface. Using the Transam system, the ship bursts out of the water and breaks into the atmosphere. They fire countermeasures and make it to the stratosphere. That is where Revive is waiting. They fire the GN Mega Launcher. It doesn't do any damage, but it does knock the Ptolemy off course. Li Zhejiang and his Alaw fleet are also waiting for the Celestial Being ship. Sumeragi commanded the Gundam team to launch while they were breaking through the atmosphere. Hey wait, aren't the Gundams the one who power the Ptolemaios' Transam system? Never mind. Because of this, Setsuna gets a preemptive attack on Li Zhejiang's fleet and takes them out with the quickness. Sumeragi receives a message from Katie saying good job, but also calling her Lisa Kujo, her real name. She knows who she is. Losing Li Zhejiang, Homer is enforced to get help from the Innovators. Ian Vashti also got his hands on the Riser. 14 years ago, Union Territory, International University. A young Billy is bidding farewell to Lisa Kujo, who is a super genius and graduated early. Her goal is to become a tactical forecaster like Katie. In the present, she wonders what she should do, as she always seems to be running from her past. She wonders why Katie joined the Alaws. Sergei is at the borders of the Seal Kingdom, a nation that held its own military strength and resisted the Federation. This nation has the influence to sway other nations from joining. If they show resistance, then other nations will follow. Catherine has lost communication with her contacts in the Middle East. Shiden wants to use their resources to leak the truth coming out of Seal, as the Federation seems to be controlling the narrative on what is going down in the Middle East. They try to contact the royal family. Shiden relays intel to Marina. She tells the princess that she needs to fight for her nation, but she is too high on that peace train. Shiden seems to be over-convincing her that peace can't be achieved without fighting for it. Katie is left in charge of the Gundam as Lint is off on his own mission. She wonders if Sumeragi is still holding on to the loss of Emilio from the past. The enemy approaches the Ptolemy, and Soma gets a braingasm, saying something dangerous is coming. Revive receives a telepathic message from Bring Stability, telling him to start the mission. I hate these names. Something fast approaches them. Setsuna launches. It is the Goratso. The GNZ 005 Goratso is a close combat mobile suit. Its main weapons are the GN Beam claws, which emit a GN Beam saber from its fingers. You could cross the streams and make it a large beam saber. This, along with the Gadessa, uses the GN Tau drive. Like the other GNZ mobile suits, it could use the long-range boosters. This more or less has the same basic structure as the Gadessa. Weapons include GN Vulcans, the GN Cutter, and GN Spikes, which are essentially brass knuckles in the form of a GN field. As Setsuna attacks, it uses its GN field. Celestial Being are amazed that the Federation has this technology. The enemy is able to tear through Setsuna's GN sword. The mobile suit makes its retreat. Sumeragi recognizes that they were just putting on a show of force. Tieria is certain that it is the Innovators. He isn't telling the crew about what Regina told him and wonders why he still hesitates to tell the truth. Alaw's Commander Goodman says that their new weapon will certainly take down the Gundams. The Ptolemy makes its way back to the L3 base. They meet up with Ian and Linda, his wife. She played a bigger role in the Gundam 00F manga, but is finally getting some play in animated form. Also, Ian likes him young. They also have with them a new member of Celestial Being, a new returner. A new returner? Well, obviously it's an Innovator spy because of how stupid that name is. She was brought on board by Wang, who is currently working against Celestial Being, though they don't know yet. The Vashti show off the new Riser and the Gian Archer. We will break these down next time. Patrick plays whack-a-mole behind Katie while asking for a new model. She tells him to shut up. The pilot of the Garazzo is Bring Stability. He tells Revive that they are using Momento Mori. Nina Trinity meets with Ali, who is working with Wang. She tries to kill him for killing her brothers, but he pulls a gun on her. He says, "Oh, you're that little girl from the past, but now you are a woman." Gross. In space, Lint preps Momento Mori. This was his secret mission. Momento Mori is a giant laser designed and developed by Ribbons with the help of Wang and the Federation. It could vaporize a small country and is as strong as a nuclear weapon. It is installed on one of the solar towers in low Earth orbit. This weapon is limited by the Earth's current rotation. If you miss your shot, you have to wait a day to fire again. The Federation uses Memento Mori on the Seal Kingdom. Setsuna tests the riser connected to 00. It exceeds the theoretical output. Everything up until this point has been Celestial Being reverse engineering the twin drive system. With the riser, they have achieved Aelia Schoenberg's original vision for the twin drive system. This amplifies everyone's quantum brainwaves on board the ship. For Soma, this allows her to sense that Sergei is too close to the laser and is about to die. For Allelujah, this activates Hallelujah. There's a giant crater where the Seal Kingdom once was. Sergei is completely fine. Catherine's man on the inside was killed during this attack. Momento Mori is the ultimate weapon for handling anti-Federation forces. Everyone who experienced a sudden sensation returns to normal. The 00 with the riser has reached the theoretical limit. While this is happening, we learn through Sumeragi that Lassie has what is most likely particle poisoning, which will eventually kill him. Lassie still decides to stay with Celestial Being knowing this. Tieria finally informs the rest of the team about the Innovators and is meeting with them. They decide to help attack Momento Mori. Meanwhile, Catherine is prepping an attack in space. They have 23 cruisers and 43 mobile suits. Celestial Being now knows that the Innovators are the ones who are responsible for the UN getting the Gian drives and the creation of the Alaws. Tieria is concerned that the Ptolemaios crew may be straying from the path of Veda. But Sumeragi says that people who use weapons like Momento Mori aren't trying to save the world from war. Nina hates that they are working with the Innovators and Ali and starts to turn on Wang. Revive and Bring plan on drawing out Celestial Being. Barack looks at a picture of his family who recently died at the hands of Catherine. Oh, this dude's gonna die. Sajji and Anu will be staying on board. The Vashti family say their goodbyes. Their hidden base is suddenly attacked. The Gundams launch. The base goes up in flames as the Ptolemy leaves. Seravee fires but Bring Stability deflects the attack. Revive uses the Gian Mega Launcher and fires on the Ptolemaios. It hits the hangar, injuring Ian. Sajji finds him and tells him to pilot the riser. They need the riser and 00 to survive this. He launches and docks with 00, creating the 00 riser. The GN quadruple O plus GNR 010 00 riser is the combination of 00 and riser, and it solves the problem of the twin drive system overloading when going into Trans-Am mode. The performance of 00 Riser exceeds all previous Gundams and was beyond expectations. Thus, the word Gundam was removed from its name as it's considered to have transcended the Gundam category. It goes beyond its expectations and can essentially teleport via quantization. Bro science! It also allows communication through quantum brainwaves. Red Hotto can dock with the riser. This form does not provide it with any new weapons. Once attached, the speed of 00 increases insanely. The Alaws are unable to keep up. Setsuna swings around an asteroid and kills Barack. Yep, there he goes. The quantum brainwaves engulf the entire battlefield. Sajji and Setsuna have a naked poop session together. The quantum brainwaves allow Sajji and Luis to communicate psychically to one another. She wonders why Sajji is working with Celestial Being. 00 Riser in Trans-Am mode continues fighting against Bring Stability. 00's Vulcans take out the cameras on the Garazzo. He brings up auxiliary cameras to see Setsuna right in front of him. Surprise, it's a Gundam! He takes out the unit, but not before Bring ejects. Tieria doesn't want to risk using the Trans-Am system. Patrick surrounds Lockon, but is saved by Tieria. Setsuna hears a voice in his head. It is Revive and the Gadessa. Hiding behind an asteroid, he takes aim with his mega launcher. 00 is able to dodge the attack. He goes in, but Bring stabs Setsuna with the beam saber. However, it was a mirage of 00 created with the help of the GN particles and great speeds that exceeds Aelia's theoretical limits. Ribbons refers to this as quantization. From behind the Gadessa comes the real 00. He uses his GM beam sword to tear through the unit. Bring ejects and whines, stating that he, as an innovator, should be better. The Trans-Am system is up. Setsuna doesn't really understand what just happened there. Sajji ejects the riser from 00. He wants to chase after Luis. Ribbons didn't realize that they had this kind of power. Wang asks what is wrong, and he gives her a slap. Not quite a bright slap. I call it the Crux Dogati. The Alaws begin to fall back. Marina goes to help fix the Gundams. Sajji is trying to use the riser, but it ain't going anywhere. Oh, how embarrassing. Luis thinks that Sajji is responsible for the death of her parents. The Vashtis made it out alive, but Ian is greatly injured. Setsuna tries to cheer up the crybaby by telling him to fight for Luis, but he slaps him out of anger. Not quite a bright slap. More of a my girlfriend left me kind of a slap. However, Setsuna fell like a brick. That wasn't that hard of a slap. Lockon overhears the conversation. He tells Setsuna that he sucks at talking to people and should have said something like, I will fight and you do all the talking. Yeah, he isn't wrong. You just told him to fight. That's so vague. Sajji has another cry session by himself. On the Alaws ship, Luis is sad about losing comrade Barak. Oh no, not Barak. Bush. Was this your doing? Barak was posthumously promoted to lieutenant colonel. Andre comes in and tries to fillet her arm, but she isn't having any of that. Revive is complaining to Bring when they get a message from Ribbons via quantum brainwaves to take down the Gundam. Revive thinks that not even Ribbons knows of the twin drive system. Meanwhile, the Rechira? It doesn't really matter. This kingdom is completely wiped out by Momento Mori. Catherine notes that they are wiping out Middle Eastern armies and militias. There was also a giant refugee camp in the area. Marina overhears this, knowing some of the children were from Recaria. Sergei saw Momento Mori in action, and the Alaws put a gag order on him. He can't speak of this incident to anyone. They're waiting for a response from Wang when they learn of the attack on that city that I'm not going to pronounce. With Red Hato, Sajji tries to make an escape and find Luis. Mari notices Sajji acting sketchy. Sajji tries to leave in the riser, but he instead decides to have himself a little cry. The Ptolemaios activates its Trans-Am system and heads towards the Catherine Space Forces. Catherine prepares for a battle in space. They move in to take down Momento Mori, but it is activated and it points directly at half of the Catherine fleet. The superweapon fires, taking out one half of the fleet. Celestial Being watches from afar. Hilling begins firing on the remaining Catherine squad. 4 Catherine ships go down. They have no choice but to begin their missile barrage. They fire, but they are able to shield themselves from the attack. Catherine launches their mobile suits, but they don't seem to have a chance. The flagship is almost shot down, but is saved by 00. Setsuna tells Catherine to pull back. Hilling fires at 00. He notes it is the same unit as before. The two engage in battle. Nina was listening into Wang's conversation and doesn't want her to get her way. She decides to send data regarding Momento Mori to the Ptolemaios team. The data sent over shows that there is a structural weakness in Momento Mori. They think it was Wang who sent over the data. The Ptolemaios moves in closer to the battlefield. Setsuna tricks Hilling into following him. The two fight, but this leaves Momento Mori open. The Ptolemaios moves in. Alaws commander Lynch sends out a fleet to take care of them. The Alaws are unable to penetrate their GN field. Momento Mori is fully charged once again. The Ptolemy is in the line of sight of the mega weapon. They have to be in this range in order to hit the weak spot. They fire Momento Mori, but it doesn't stop Ptolemy. That's a strong GN field. Arios is powering the Trans-Am system on the ship. They continue pushing forward. Lockon activates the Trans-Am. He begins sniping units as they push through. Are they doing a Star Wars trench run? I think they're doing a Star Wars trench run. Hilling tries to fire at the Ptolemaios, but Setsuna distracts her. Lockon is also using the shield bits to protect the Ptolemaios. It moves in closer. They are in shooting distance. Tieria activates the Trans-Am on Seravee and fires its chunky cannon. They miss, but that was a distraction. Lockon takes aim and fires, getting a direct hit on the weak spot. The Momento Mori falls to pieces and conveniently falls onto Lynch's ship, killing him. Katie's probably feeling a sense of relief at this moment. The mission is complete. Setsuna is called back, but Hilling tries to stop him. Someone distracts Hilling, giving Setsuna the chance to immobilize the Gedessa. Setsuna notes that the person who helped him has a GN Tau drive. It was Nina. Back on Earth, the children are excited by shooting stars. But Klaus says, "This is war!" Yeah, get those future child soldiers riled up. Gotta start early. Elsewhere, Sergei meets with Colonel Pang Hercu. Like Mercury, but with an H? Sure, why not? A Gedessa, a Garazzo, and one mysterious mobile armor makes its way towards the Ptolemaios. It is the Empress. The GNMA Y0001 Empress is a mobile armor that is a prototype used to collect data for the combat-ready variant, the Regnant, which will be piloted by Luis. It was developed off of the Salvatore seen in Season 1. It has the same cockpit as the Gedessa, and is very mobile despite its size. Its main weapons are the Egner whips, which are designed to penetrate the GN field and can electrocute a unit. Other weapons include a large beam cannon, a GN particle cannon, a claw arm, and an anti-ship GN sword. It also has a GN field. Homer is informed that Momento Mori has fallen. Setsuna catches up with the Ptolemaios only to find scraps everywhere. Nina contacts him and informs him that his ship dropped down to Earth. Peng Hercu informs Sergei that people within the Federation are trying to start a coup against the Alaws, and that he is their ringleader. It seems he wants Sergei to join. Ian Vashti wakes up from the medbay. He wakes up to gravity. He realizes he is on Earth. They catch Ian up on things. It seems they used the smoke screen to get away from the mobile armor, but most of the sensors are destroyed along with navigation. Setsuna passes over a crater caused by Momento Mori. That is when Ali passes by in the Arch Gundam. Ali wanted him to chase him, and he took the bait. Catherine learns of a faction trying to do a coup within ESF. Klaus decides to go meet with them. Setsuna chases Ali all the way back to Krugus. The two get out of their mobile suits and talk. He brought Ribbons, who wants to talk to the Gundam and the other Gundam. He calls him by his real name, Soren. Ribbon says that they met for the first time 11 years ago. He was the one in O Gundam back in the day. He was testing the Gundam and was supposed to kill anyone who laid eyes on it, but Ribbons spared him. He was also the one who recommended Veda to Celestial Being. Setsuna refuses to help, and Ali shoots him, but he only shoots him in the arm, allowing him to escape. Ribbons is like, you had one job, dude. This dude's a warmonger. What did you expect? The two get into their mobile suits and begin fighting. Ali is amazed that he could fight with an injury. Meanwhile, the other Gundams launch from the Ptolemaios as two mobile suits approach them. They encounter Revive in the Grazzo and Bring in the Gedessa. Arios and Seravee launch and engage with the two Innovators. Bring takes off Seravee's left arm, but the unit grabs the Innovator and goes into Trans Am mode. It also transforms. Just like Gundam Virtue's Natalie, so too does Seravee have another form. He transforms into Seraphim. The GN009 Seraphim Gundam is developed off of data from Natalie. This version is stored in the backpack and turns into mobile suit form once activated. It also has a trial system, but it must be connected to Veda to use it. This unit can last longer than the old trial system. This also has a tiny face when the trial system is activated, like Seravee's face burst mode. Kidia's pilot seat transfers between Seravee and Seraphim. Both arms can transform into GN cannons. Other weapons include a GN Beam Saber, a GN Bazooka 2, and a GN Machine Gun. He fires at point-blank range, killing Bring. Finally, I'm tired of saying his name. Bring is a verb. Setsuna chases Ali when they run into Klaus's shuttle, who is heading to meet with the ESF faction. Ali takes the ship as a prisoner, but 00 Riser in Trans Am mode moves in too quickly for him to notice. He gets the upper hand and even has a moment to kill Ali, but he can hear Marina and the children sing back down on Earth. He just takes out Arch Gundam, allowing Ali to escape. In space, Luis meets with Divine Nova. Okay, this name isn't as bad as the others. He is the pilot of the Empress and tells Luis that she too will get one for her own. Back on Earth, Billy gives Tom Cruise a new mobile suit. It is the Masurao. The Jinx UO2X Masurao is designed to be the next generation of mobile suits, replacing the Jinx 3 and the Ahead. As this is Tom Cruise's mobile suit, it is the evolution of his Union flag back in Season 1. It started with the flag, but it was recently developed from the Ahead Sakigake. Its main weapons are the GN Beam Sabers, which Bushido calls Howard Mason and Daryl Dodge after his fallen comrades. It has the ability to recognize and react to certain flight patterns. Other weapons include the Beam Chakram built into the head, and GN Vulcans. It also has a GN field and a Trans Am system, though Tom Cruise takes a heavy burden from using it. Up in space, Divine is angry over Bring's death. Hilling wants to give him a handy to calm him down, but he is consumed with hate. That's a free handy. 00 lands at Catherine Base in the Middle East. He gets out of the Gundam and instantly passes out from blood loss. Good timing. Oh no, the machines are now using machines. Everyone is helping with the repairs on the Ptolemy. They wonder where Setsuna is. They head to the rendezvous point, which happens to be a different Catherine base. Hercu wants Sergei to join his coup d'etat, knowing that his old friend won't go against the military. He references this as a reason why his wife Holly is dead, but Sergei stops him from bringing up old memories. Before leaving, he reminds Sergei that the military is designed to protect the people. Klaus and Shiden meet with a contact working with Hercu. They inform them that they have a contact with celestial being. Shiden wonders if this is wise. The Alaws and with them the Innovators are planning their next mission. Setsuna is having a nightmare about killing his parents once again when he is awoken by Marina and the children. He tells her he could hear their song from space. Setsuna is informed that the Ptolemy has picked up supplies from the other base. However, the ship gets a red alert. The Alaws are on their way. Patrick Colasar wasn't allowed to pilot a mobile suit and instead pilots Katie Madigan's shuttle. She needs his dumb luck to rub off on her. Also, the shuttles look like little drone ships. Lockon snipes while Arios and Seravee get in close. They engage with the Innovators. The Empress uses the Egner whip on both Arios and Seravee. The Gian Archer is the only other weapon on board the Ptolemy. Madi/Soma wants to pilot it. Even though he's injured, Setsuna has to go help his friends. He says to Marina next time they meet, he wants to hear her sing with the children. He takes off. Katie gets an encoded message from HQ. The Alaws suddenly retreat. Celestial Being doesn't know what is happening, but Katie is informed that a coup is currently taking place at the orbital elevator. They are targeting the African tower. Setsuna is informed of this before the Ptolemaios crew understands what is going on. As he approaches, he is met with Tom Cruise. The Masadao activates its own Trans-Am system. Hercu seizes control of Africa's solar tower and all of its operations. He informs the citizens that they have been living a sense of false peace, and that the Alaws and ESF have become nothing more than a dictatorship. A secretary of the press type informs the people of the demands of Hercu and his men. In exchange for the citizens that he has hostage, ESF must dissolve the Federation Assembly. They must release thousands of activists in confinement, probably without due process if I had to guess, and $100 billion, which can't even buy you a house in 2312. Inflation, man. They say they will not concede to their demands. Sergei flashes back to a conversation with his wife Holly and Hercu. He believes solving the energy crisis is a path to peace. Homer is concerned this will cause more anti-government activity. Nina asks Wang why the Innovators aren't getting involved. It seems even they don't fully understand their motives or why they're letting the coup happen. Sumeragi also understands that the Innovators are allowing this to happen and wonders why. She knows Setsuna will most likely head to the solar tower once they find out. They have to go find him. The Alaws begin an attack. The heads launch automatons.
In other words, it's a symbol that denies the absence of meaning.
At the solar tower, Hercu spots someone on the radar approaching their location. He notes that it is a Tieten Tautsu, but it isn't. It is a Tieten all-region type. The MSJ-063A Tieten all-region type is a normal pilot variant of the Tieten Tautsu, which was originally designed for super soldiers. This can operate in all environments and is very mobile and can fly in Earth's atmosphere. Sergei's unit will have a custom beam rifle and chest-mounted machine guns. These units stopped being used as they were useless in the age of the Gundam and Gian Drive. Meanwhile, baby Andrei Smirnov reflects on Hercu. He wasn't just Sergei's superior, but a family friend. Rather than going to his father for a recommendation, Andrei actually went to Hercu. He tells Andrei to not hate his father so much. Back on the tower, Sergei delivers a message to Hercu regarding ESF's unwillingness to give in to the demands. While delivering the message, Sergei decides to stay and help the cause. Automatons break through and begin attacking civilians along with the rebels. Hercu was hoping that he could use these so he could show this to the world. Had to let a couple people die to prove that, but hey, this guy. However, Hercu was planning on letting the civilians go. Except for this guy. Hercu, however, does mention that the pain caused here is worth getting the word out. He is cool with bearing the burdens. For him, it is all about sowing doubt. On Earth, the media are claiming that the rebels are killing civilians rather than the Alaws. Hercu says that the truth will be revealed soon enough and doesn't care. Setsuna and Tom Cruise continue their fight. Last time he was able to activate a Trans-Am system of his own. The Masadao tries to penetrate 00's GN field. Tom Cruise says that he is better than him, but Setsuna goes, "Nuh-uh, I'm better." And Gundam. Luckily, Setsuna is saved by the Ptolemaios crew because Tom Cruise really beat him up. All the other Gundam Meisters give Setsuna a hug. Gundam's hugging looks funny. Also, you're gonna scratch the paint. You're just giving Ian Vashti more work to do. Poor guy. Katie, who was put on standby, notices the formation of the army around the tower. She realizes they must have another Momento Mori. Sumeragi realizes this too. We flash back to an assault on the former HRL-controlled solar tower being attacked. Sergei knows that Holly is there, but he has to focus on his mission. This, of course, led to the death of his wife. In the present, everyone preps for evac on the solar tower. Hercu was being too careless and didn't consider the Alaws would go full scorched earth. There are 60,000 private citizens on this tower, and the Alaws are willing to kill them all. Meanwhile, Ribbons has some delusions of grandeur. The Alaws are taking out any of Catherine's troops around the solar tower. The Gundams minus Setsuna engage, but Setsuna is ready to launch. Even though injured, he knows 00 Riser is the only anything that can take it out. He asks for Sajji's help. The two men dock while Red Hotto cheers them on. Oh, you kids and your docking. Momento Mori preps to fire as 00 Riser heads up to take it down. They are met with the Empress, piloted by Divine Nova. The Gundam goes into Trans Am mode and fires on Momento Mori, but it isn't a beam blast. It is a giant beam saber. It begins slowly slicing through Momento Mori, but it isn't fast enough as it fires. Also, Setsuna killed Divine Nova while firing on Momento Mori. It's such a non-death, I almost forgot about it. Momento Mori's blast hits the tower. The orbital elevator has protocols in place that purge the exterior armor. This allows them to sacrifice part of the tower without destroying the entire thing. Most of the debris will burn up on re-entry, but the lower fragments are going to fall towards Earth. Sumeragi sends out a message to everyone informing them that if they don't shoot down the debris, millions will die. The Gundams go to work. Mari helps piloting the GN Archer. The GNR 101A GN Archer is a transformable mobile suit and is a support unit for Arios. It can attach to Arios in flight form, creating the Archer Arios. This increases speed, armaments, and mobility. This is more superior to Kyrios' tail booster. When connected to Arios, control is assumed to the Gundam. This is built off of Gundam Artemy, piloted by 874. Check out our coverage of OOF and the Fresh Day team for more on this unit. Weapons included GN Beam Rifle, GN Missiles, 2 GN Beam Sabers, and GN Vulcans. Catherine, along with Hercules' team, help out in destroying the debris. I know it's better than death, but all these vaporized heavy metals in the atmosphere can't be good, right? That is when the Alaws come in to attack. Though ordered to attack, many of them join in to help stop the debris. Andre realizes that Hercu is a part of the coup. Thierry uses his GN Hyper Bazooka, which does far more cleanup than your average GN rifle. As the debris calms down, Hercu is shot down by Andre. He goes in and attacks his dad. He stabs Sergei with a GN Beam Saber, killing his father. This death causes the Super Soldier and Mari to activate. It has been 4 months since the attack on the orbital elevator. The countermeasures from the attack worked, as it only affected a tiny chunk of the tower. It is already in the process of being rebuilt. Power has been reestablished. Damn, 4 months without electricity. The Alaws' plan of fear worked, as this allowed them to assume authority over all of ESF's military forces, similarly to the Titans taking full control in Universal Century. The Alaws are informed of an attack by Celestial Being. This is their first attack in 4 months. They are finishing their business from months ago and finally taking out Momento Mori too. Mari is fighting once again after the death of Sergei. She has also become the super soldier Soma Pieris again, and is being hostile towards Allelujah. When Ali shot Setsuna a few episodes ago, his wound was infected with the same GN particle cancer that Lassie has. It's spreading slow, however. Ribbons tells Wang that the usefulness of humans will wither away faster than her beauty. That burned harder than Lassie's GN particle cancer. He tells her they can never become innovators. Louise wonders if she will be able to fire on Sajji if the moment calls for it. While with Lockon, Anu begins spacing out. Revive was able to pick up on her. The Alaws are planning an attack on the Ptolemaios. They prep for launch. Lockon embarrasses Anu on the bridge by saying that he loves her. Oh, she's definitely gonna die. This whole episode, everyone seems to be fighting for something. But what is Setsuna fighting for?
Gundam.
Oh, right. Klaus and Catherine are hiding in a remote location, but it appears they have been found out.
Kenny!
No, not Kenny, you bastards! Marina, Shiden, and the kids flee underground. Shiden tries to give Marina a gun, but she is all about that total pacifism. Soma detaches from Arios and tries to find Andre. Setsuna activates the Trans Am system once again, releasing a bunch of GN particles. This causes Allelujah to turn into Hallelujah. Sajji tries to reach out to Luis. They have a mind conversation. She pulls a gun on him. Can you shoot someone while having a conversation in your mind? This causes her to freak out in the real world. Sheridan engages with Revive. He activates his Trans Am system and tears through his mobile suit. Revive tries to escape, but Thierry uses Seraphim to capture his core pod. Andre tries to pull Luis back, but Soma continues to attack him. She rushes in, but Arios holds her back as she is moving too far out. As the Alaws retreat, Sajji yells at everyone saying that Celestial Being is just making everything worse. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise just watches. You know, if you helped, you guys probably could have taken down Celestial Being. Nope. Just gonna brood, I guess. As Marina is unwilling to hold a gun, Shiden wants her to hide with the children. She is just going to be a liability to her. Sajji says that he will fight to help bring Luis back. Celestial Being goes to interrogate Revive. As they talk to him, Anu is activated. She turns to Lassie and shoots him. After watching Setsuna's fight, Ribbons wants 00 for his own. Earlier, Regina gave Wang intel on the location of Veda. However, Ribbons knows this. As Wang goes to the location, she is stopped by Nina. The Gundam thrown dry fires and destroys her ship. Revive doesn't know where Veda is located. Felt tells the team that Anu is an innovator and took Melina hostage. They plan on taking 00. As they have a prisoner, Revive just walks out. He infects the control system with a virus. Soma runs into Anu holding Melina. Soma, as a super soldier, has minor quantum brainwave capabilities and can hear Anu's thoughts. Lockon and Setsuna are able to trick her and get Melina to safety. She runs to a shuttle while Revive takes the riser. 00 and Sheridan chase after Revive. Unbeknownst to him, Red Hotto was in the cockpit. The Red Hotto connects to 00 and begins the docking process. The one chance you had to stab someone and you don't do it. Red Hotto is getting soft. He needs to spend time with Hotto from Gundam-san. Revive is locked out of riser. He says screw this and shoots up the cockpit and bails. If he didn't have control of the systems, how did he open the hatch? He gets into a new shuttle. Lockon aims at the shuttle, but he is unable to take the shot. Louise meets with Ribbons, who gives her the Regnant. The GNMA 000V Regnant is a transformable mobile armor built off of the Empress. This unit has multiple GN drives. In mobile suit form, it has a Gundam face, something that Louise hates. Its main weapon is the GN beam cannon, which has the ability to curve the beam. It also has 10 GN fangs with a built-in beam cannon, though most of the time, they're used as kamikaze bits. Other weapons include an electromagnetic whip, GN micro missiles, an anti-ship GN sword, and GN Vulcans. He plans on making her the first human innovator. Her eyes glow just like the other Innovades. They were able to remove the virus from the ship. Lassie is in a healing pod. Setsuna tells Lockon that he is going to kill his girlfriend. Mobile suits approach the Ptolemy. In the Gadessa is Hilling, and Anu is in the Gaddis. The GNZ 007 Gaddis is an Innovate exclusive mobile suit made for a new returner. Veda is built into the unit, allowing increased performance. Like the Gadessa, it has a line sensor, a core fighter, and optional leg-mounted boosters. Weapons include GN Beam Saber Fang, a GN Heat Saber, GN Vulcans, and a GN Cutter. This is a superior machine, but Anu isn't the best pilot to utilize its power. Louise is in the Regnant. She fires her bendy beam cannon. Lockon engages with Anu. He activates his Trans-Am system and begins tearing her mobile suit apart, limb by limb. He opens the cockpit and tries to get Anu to come with him, but she begins fighting him again. It appears as though Ribbons is controlling her with quantum brainwaves. She rushes towards Lockon when suddenly she is shot. It is Setsuna. He says, "Bitch, I told you I was gonna kill her. Now let me sprinkle you with some GN fairy dust, so you and your dying girlfriend could have a naked quantum brainwave sesh." Anu is killed. The other Innovators make their retreat. Setsuna tells Sajji that Anu wasn't the same Anu, and if he didn't act, she would have killed Lockon. He says that he could sense that it is the same for Louise. Setsuna's eyes glow like an Innovator. While the ship goes offline for a moment, they receive a distress call from an unfinished colony at Lagrange 5. Linda Vashti and a bunch of scientists also fled to L5, so Ian wants to go check up on her and get supplies. It happens to be Wang who survived her attack from Nina. Allelujah wants Soma to take Lassie's place since he's been shot, but she ain't having it. She wants to die in battle. Lockon apologizes for punching the Gundam earlier, but he points a gun at his back. Setsuna seems to sense it. 00 Riser launches and heads to L5. Goodman and the Alaws are making moves without the Innovator's input, even though Louise is supposed to be the first human innovator, and it might be Setsuna. Everyone says that Setsuna has changed over the past few episodes. Marina and the kids have been singing their song over the airwaves. It seems that their song is resonating with the people. This is what Relina was missing. She needed a catchy song. Wang yells at Hong, saying this is all his fault, as he should have been the head of the family, but now she has to deal with all of this. She says, "You're staying by my side till the day you die." That is when Nina catches up to them. She shoots at Wang, but Hong says, "That day is today." He shields her from Nina's bullets and pushes her to safety before he takes a bullet to the face. Nina and Regina are working together against Ribbon's plan. That is when Setsuna arrives. He heads in without Sajji to find Wang. She gives him the location where Veda was moved to. She says she can't go with him because of her Keikaku. When he heads back to the Gundam, he is surrounded by Tom Cruise. He challenges him to a duel in his new Susanoo. The GNX Y90-1TW Susanoo is an upgraded version of the Masadao, or rather, the Susanoo is what the Masadao would be if given more time. The gene condenser on the Susanoo's back can supply power to the sabers, named Shiranui and Unru, through a power cable on the back of the head. It has a large beam cannon called the Trip Punisher, with 3 muzzles, one on the abdomen and 1 on each shoulder. Like Masadao, it has a beam chakram and a Trans-Am system. It also is equipped with a power gauntlet on the left arm and a GN claw. As the two fight, Wang tries to flee, but Nina shoots and kills her. Ribbon speaks to her through Hotto. He says he is bringing her vengeance. It is Louise and her Regnant. She can finally get revenge for Nina killing her family. The Regnit's fangs tear through the Throne Gundam. She stabs through the throne, killing Nina. She begins going mad after getting vengeance. Both Tom Cruise and Setsuna whip out their Trans Ams to see whose is bigger. They end up having a naked GN particle sesh together. It's not gay if GN particles are involved. Setsuna is trying to change the world, but Tom Cruise has come to terms with the fact that he just wants to fight the strongest fighters. He doesn't care and never has cared about this war. Setsuna slices off his arm, disarming the Gundam. Tom Cruise says, "Kill me, you coward," but Setsuna lets him live to fight another day. The location of Veda happens to be on the dark side of the moon. Its original location was on the moon, so it didn't go too far. The radars detect something fishy happening around the moon, and they are expecting a lot of company when they arrive. They're going to hide in Lagrange 2, where no colonies are being built. Linda Vashti approaches the Ptolemy with medical supplies. Alaws Commander Goodman has 21 Baikal cruisers and 108 mobile suits in his fleet. Linda has brought O Gundam with them, along with another friend. It should be able to sortie for a limited time. Setsuna gives a rousing speech to the team before they head into the final battle. Lassie is healed up and ready to helm the Ptolemy. Catherine is also in space, ready to assist. Why'd you bring the children, though? Why'd you even come to space? Ribbons made clones of Divine Nova. Who are you guys posing for? Felt gives Setsuna a flower. Everyone sorties. Also, why can Archer Arios launch pre-docked while 00 Riser has to dock outside the ship? I have questions. The two fleets converge on one another and begin fighting. Archer detaches from Arios. Gundam Riser activates the Riser Sword, which is the giant beam sword. It takes out 3 Baikal-class ships with ease. They enter into an anti-beam field. Goodman plans on flooding them with mobile suit cannon fodder. While they can't use their beam weapons, they are overwhelmed. The Alaws break through the Gundam's defenses and head towards the Ptolemaios. Setsuna still has his GN sword and can still fight. Catherine comes in to help just in time. They seem to have anticipated the anti-GN field. Goodman is attacked by another incoming fleet. It happens to be Katie Mannequin in her Ural-class ship. The Ural-class ship was originally developed by former Union engineers and is one of the biggest mobile suit carriers we have seen in this universe, being able to carry 96 mobile suits in total. It looks similar in design to the Virginia class, and it uses the same plasma engines as well. Weapons include laser cannons, anti-aircraft lasers, and GN missiles. Also, the baby blue is looking good on the Jinx 3. Of course, Patrick Colasar is on her side taking the lead. The Ptolemy team breaks through the anti-GN field. Setsuna fires on the flagship, killing Goodman. Ribbons has been reading Regina's thoughts and knows her true intentions. She says, "Screw it," and shoots him in the head. However, another Ribbons walks into the room. He just uploaded his body into another vessel. She goes to kill him again, but is shot first by Ali. The battle wages on. A beam blast nearly hits Katie's ship, but takes out some Catherine vessels. The blast came from the moon. They even took out the Alaws mobile suits in the process. It came from the Innovator's mothership, Celestial Being. Celestial Being is an asteroid mega fortress and was one of Aeolia's secret projects. This was originally designed to be used by Celestial Being for deep space exploration. The Innovators decide to turn it into a weapon. Its main weapon is the 80mm GN laser, which is on rails and can rotate 360 degrees around the asteroid. It uses GN Tau drive energy cartridges to fire this huge beam weapon. It also has several 20mm lasers throughout the asteroid. The base also houses Veda. The Ptolemy heads towards Celestial Being to find Veda. Ribbon launches the Lady Gagas. The Gaga is an autonomous mobile suit designed to be used as a kamikaze weapon. This is done with the help of the Trans Am system. Since there is no pilot, the GN drives are in the chest and it has no use for legs. The only weapon on this unit is GN Vulcans. You could say this is a mobile doll of the sorts. They activate their Trans Am systems and begin their kamikaze run. They are able to break through the GN field. Their attack is overwhelming. Katie tries to support the Ptolemaios. The Gagas go in to attack the Ural-class ship, but Patrick protects her, blowing up in the process. It's okay, he's fine. For some reason, the Ptolemy rushes towards a deck on Celestial Being when automatons swarm them. With automatons, they technically have 2 mobile dolls. Suck it, Wing. Setsuna and Sajji are attacked by Luis. Lockon enters the base to find Ali. He tries to get revenge for his brother. Lassie pilots O Gundam ACD type and fires at the automatons. The GN00 O Gundam ACD type is the first Celestial Being mobile suit. ACD stands for Actual Combat Deployment. It retains the same armaments as the old Gundam. It's mainly just a color change. Automatons break into the ship, but Felt is able to locate Veda. Thierry goes to look for it, but Revive and Hilling chase him. They activate their Trans Am. Sumeragi goes to protect the ship when she happens to find Billy. The Innovates find Tieria's mobile suit, but it is empty. He is already inside Celestial Being and finds Ribbons. 00 Riser fights against Luis and Andre. The Regnant transforms the mobile suit form and grabs 00 Riser. That is when Gagas come in. She is willing to kill herself if it means taking down Celestial Being. Tieria says they aren't Innovators, they are Innovades. They are artificially created in the hopes to bring forth real Innovators. Billy believes that the Innovators are superior beings, so the logical choice is to follow them. But Sumeragi thinks that that is just taking away one's freedom. Gundam is out of energy, and Lassie coughs out blood from his GN particle cancer. Setsuna unleashes GN particles. Luis's mobile armor is destroyed, but Setsuna saves her. He tells Sajji to take her to safety while he fights against Healing and Revive. Ribbons shoots Tieria. Dude, you had the upper hand. What the hell happened during the cutaway? Luis wakes up and tries to choke a bitch, but seeing Sajji's ring reminds her of the past. Setsuna activates his Trans Am and can sense all his comrades in pain through the GN field. That is when he activates the Trans Am burst system. This can only be activated by true Innovators. The GN particles are spread out when activating the original Trans Am. An Innovator can then use those GN particles to increase speed beyond comprehension. It also allows one to read quantum brainwaves and expands human consciousness, and apparently cure cancer. This is a true Innovator. Everyone has been saying that for peace to happen, one must change. Becoming a true Innovator is the change that they were all seeking. Setsuna says, "I'm going to force peace onto you bitches. I'm in your head." The power of hugs gets Billy to calm down. Veda suddenly rejects Ribbons. Regina says, "Hey man, I'm in your head." Tieria is still alive, and he activates Seraphim and the trial system. It is able to deactivate all of the surrounding mobile suits. Yeah, maybe start with that weapon instead of making it your closer. Lockon chases Ali as he ejects from his mobile suit. He is about to shoot him when he remembers anew. He decides for peace instead, but he reaches for his gun, leaving Lockon no choice but to shoot him. Setsuna reaches Veda to find Tieria's dead body, but he is linked directly with Veda. By doing so, he is finally able to tell Setsuna Aeolia Schönberg's plan. Setsuna returns to the ship with knowledge of the true plan when Seraphim is shot down. It is Ribbons and the Reborn's Gundam. The CB-000GC Reborn's Gundam is a transformable mobile suit created with the help of Veda. Like 00, this also has a twin drive system. The cannon mode's mobility is slightly reduced compared to the Gundam modes, but it has high firepower and excels at mid to long range artillery combat. This is a hidden Gundam head. The Jian Tao drives still are inferior to the original Jian drive. Weapons include a Jian Buster Rifle, a Jian Shield, 4 large fin fangs, 8 small fin fangs, and Jian Vulcans, like the Empress. This also uses the Egner Whip. The two engage in the final Bataru. Lassie tells the Ptolemy crew to move away from Celestial Being. Soma was critically injured, though those pods seem to heal everything, so I actually don't even know what critically injured is in this universe. Did you see Lassie just cured his cancer? The Reborns transforms into mobile suit mode. Revive and Healing come in to support Ribbons, while Allelujah and Lockon support Setsuna. Or rather, Hallelujah and Allelujah working together. Arios uses the claw arm and crushes the Gadessa, killing Healing, but Allelujah is injured in the process. Lockon is hit. He only has 1 second of Trans Am juices left, but that is enough time. He waits for Revive to rush in before activating the Trans Am and using the shield bits to kill Revive. Ribbons believes that Gundam's original GN drive is what is setting Setsuna apart from the Innovades, and he wants it for himself. 00 quantizes or teleports, but Ribbons is able to get the upper hand. He crushes the mobile suit and takes the GN drive and runs away. While doing so, he finds Gundam that Lassie abandoned. He puts the drive in Gundam. Setsuna takes his remaining GN drive and places it in an old friend. He puts it in Exia, or in this case, Gundam Exia Repair 2. The GN 001 RE2 Gundam Exia Repair 2 is a modified version of the original Exia Repair, though it does kind of seem like a downgrade. Where's the cool cloak? It is equipped with the GN Sword Kai, 2 GN Beam Sabers, a pair of GN Vulcans, and a GN shield. The two fight as Marina reads a letter to express her feelings. She knows Setsuna will fight until the day he dies, but she hopes that he could eventually find happiness in all of this. Exia pierces through Gundam. Gundam explodes while 00 drifts off. Setsuna proved that it wasn't just the GN drive that set him apart. It was himself, for he is Gundam. In Azatistan, Marina tells her people that with the help of ESF, they will rebuild their nation and the entire Middle East. One can dream, I suppose. Sajji is with Luis on Earth. ESF gets a new president. Catherine now has ESF parliament members. They now have representation and recognition in this world. The Alaws have been disbanded, and Homer Katagiri commits suicide. Klaus tells Shiden this is when things actually begin, as change happens with legislation. The new president consolidates the 3 solar towers to find a way to give power to everyone. Katie has been promoted to general and is getting married to her idiot Patrick. This dude's the biggest winner of the show. Andre is supporting in relief efforts in the hopes that he could become a better soldier. Lyle fakes his death and fully takes on the identity of Lockon Stratos. He also gives Anu a proper burial. Allelujah and Soma/Marie travel the world as they lived most of their lives in cages. Tieria watches over everyone. Even as a supercomputer, this guy is being weird. Sajji believes that if anything happens again that breaks the peace, he believes that Celestial Being will once again return. And that will conclude Mobile Suit Gundam 00. I feel like Season 1 of 00 is a nicely paced, well-written season. This season just feels like more of the same. Plus, they run into the same problem every Gundam has over time. If everyone has a Gundam, then it's not fun anymore. Marina felt like an afterthought this season, though I still felt like she did more than Relina, which is saying something about Gundam Wing. We, as the viewer, also still don't know Aeolia's plan. Luckily, there is more story to tell, as next time, we dive into the movie Awakening of the Trailblazer. Here we will learn that a second human besides Setsuna has awakened as an innovator. We could also start our coverage of the mangas 00I and 00P. That will do it for now, new types. Even after 2 seasons, the thing I'm still most curious about is the medical technologies in this universe. Everything seems curable, but you tell me nothing about it. Oh well, peace.